Hello, Cebu. Hello, UCTS. I think last year end, we were invited for this public. It's a similar lecture series in Kuching. And then I was thinking, like, after the talk, I was thinking, like, okay, probably this is the last chance that we can actually stand for this platform. But then, and we were invited again. And I think if you are nice enough, you might be invited. That's the whole idea. So we are from Intodesign Lab. And we started this company since 2008. We are husband and wife team. And then these are most of the building that we are actually doing in Kuching. And then as you can see, some hotels, showroom, houses, and things like that. But then we also, our title tonight is actually a school buy products. This is our team. Looks big, but then actually 2 to 3 of them is actually a trainee in the office. So about 4 to 5 of us. And then I'm also teaching in Lim Kok Wing, actually part-time teaching. So apart of doing architecture, we actually tested some research or that kind of installation or artwork with students. And then these are actually one of it. About 5,000 cups that were used. It's actually the World Architecture Day in 3 years ago, I think. And my students actually won the competition. It's actually a brand, and they come with different kind of different color where sort of like indicates different kind of motion. And then we also tested with something. Actually, we like things that portable and mobile, and we keep testing. And then we know that it's very unlikely that we can actually apply the mobility on the static building. So actually, we keep on testing with students and this sort of installation. And this was done in one of the primary school. It's not moving, but then it looks moving. And then after that, we got this task in KL. It's actually international school. Because before that, we are actually just testing, but we don't really have that sort of direction to what to be done and how to move on. But then ever since after this school, it's actually an international school in Kajang. It's actually comprised of 3 schools. As you can see, hang on. Where's the pointer? It's actually 3 courtyards here. The preschool, primary, and then secondary school. And then the infield is actually multi-purpose hall, and this is actually the main block for the grand library and the admin blocks. And then in terms of facade, it's actually quite simple. Derived from the words Eaton, it's actually their international, their brand, and then sort of like carry on throughout the entire loop of the buildings. And then this is actually an entrance view. As you can see, this is the grand library. The drop-off is actually below it. And then once you walk in, you will see this. This is one of the courtyard space. It's actually quite liberate for the students to actually move on. But then you bear in mind that the headmaster is actually watching you all the time, but maybe you might not know that. So. Some view, corridor space. And then all this overhang is actually, we pay quite a bit of attention to make sure it works and also graphically interesting. And then some courtyard space. And within the school, there's a lot of this sort of green nook area. It's actually, again, for the students to hide out, probably. And of course, for outdoor, there's sort of teaching. So it's in fact quite green. And we also use quite a fair bit of daylighting throughout the space. The classroom, library, the entrance, and then finally this is phase 1 because another 2 loops they are going to construct it, I think, beginning next year. So the overall, the school is not actually only focused on the creative design, creative classroom, the sort of creative learning environment, but then they also make use of architecture, try to showcase their school. I mean, the image of the school as a school of future. If you Google it, you will see this. I don't know how future is. But ever since after this project, we start to think about our local project because I think our kids is starting engaging into the primary school. And then we sort of, okay, can we do something different? And then as we visited some of the schools, actually, the condition is actually quite bad. This is quite near to Kuching. In fact, it's not very far. If you see, I mean, this is Singapore, not my work, but then this is public school in Nanyang Primary School in Singapore. As you can see, they already look interesting. So, and then we all know that, I mean, the importance of creative environment in nurturing our young minds. Like our kids will definitely determine the future of our nation. So the question is actually how can we help the kind of ideas. And then one day we actually came across with this little free library idea. It's actually the idea of you borrow a book, but then after you return. It's actually applicable in US, mostly in the suburb area. Then we think that maybe in terms of like increasing the literacy level in the primary school, maybe that is one of the options. Then we start to talk to our friend, Ika Picture Story House. So we will be doing the design for the so-called the mobile library, then they will be sourcing the picture books for the kids. And then it's about time to test. We find a school, talk to the school, and then they start to, they start to buy the idea. Also, quite worried about whether it will work or not. So the first library, we called it like a pop-up intervention. And then this is actually about 11 years ago that we actually quite active when we work in KL. We are quite active in terms of stage design. That was actually me as a gangster. So, but then after that, we sort of like quite interested in terms of props design, portable design, that sort of things. This is one of the stage design that we actually get involved. It's actually a big box that tells the story. It actually can move around, and it's sort of like open up, four-sided, that tell about different kind of story, as you can see like that. So after that, I mean, based on this precedent, our previous work, and then we sort of like, we are quite sure that, I mean, it's going to be something that mobile, it got to be functional, flexible, and of course, semi-outdoor, that kind of mobile library design criteria. Then we tested in Kuching, this SJK Bintawa. So this is the design. We try to squeeze in, the planter box, colorful shelf to attract the attention from the kids. And of course, we have this sort of blocks for the seating that can actually slot in. And then these are actually self-funded. We sort of like with our own money, and then we give it to the school, test it in our studio, and then send it. So this is the outcome. Very low-tech kind of insertion of green onto the shelf. And I think the response is good. That's the first one. And then the second one is start to think about, can we sort of like take it to another level by creating it like a placemaking. So the library is definitely defined in that sort of space if you place it in a corridor or you place it in a car park or whatever. So we tested in another school in Kuching, a primary school. And then after that, we realized, of course, the library is almost like a placemaking kind of object. And then it's also similar to how the street vendor is actually function by its own and create that sort of character to the space, to the place. And then this is actually Sunday market documentation. The Satok Sunday market in Kuching is no longer there, but then it's actually a documentation done by my students. I think they took about 3 days to map the entire market. So we have that set of documentation. And then we also, refer to this fried chicken store quite a famous fried chicken store in town. And then, so it's almost like, when the street vendor is there, and then people will start together, and then if the street will back to normal if, let's say, they left and that kind of thing. And then, of course, the store is mobile, and then everything is actually packed onto one device. So it sort of like inspired us to actually restudy the design for our second version of the all-in-one mobile library kind of thing. So we take octagon shape, we study framing, furniture, and how the shelf is actually incorporating with the frame to create this sort of all-in-one kind of design. So the yellow one is actually the stools. And then the shelves actually kept within the entire mobile library. And then we manufactured in-house and then sent it to the school, fork out by our own money, buy the books. And this is the outcome. So we put it in the corridor. So after the school, they will probably hide below the staircase and like lock it there. And then the third one, because the response actually start to get quite good, and then from the public, or actually our friends, they start to they want to donate some money to help out on this project. And then we start to think about mass production, and then how to create a very efficient kind of lightweight and it can be produced cheaply. And then we start to think about whether the stools can be actually cardboard to minimize the cost and also can be quite safe. So this is the outcome. It comes with 3 tiers. It can actually remove and become 3 tables. And then all these stools is actually invented by our studio. It's actually a cardboard. Yeah, it's something like that. This is actually a creative corner that we created in one of the schools by using stools and also the mobile library. Then we start to call on donation and all that, put online, Facebook, and then we start to mass produce. And then I think 6 months ago we achieved about 10 library has been sent out to the school. And then after 6 months, I think we have currently we have actually sent out about 18, right? Suan? About 18. And then this was 2 days ago. We are actually working with Rotary Club in Southern Chapters, Kuching. And then they sort of venture into the school at the coastal line of Sarawak. So this is the first one in the Asajaya. So that will be installed, I think, end of October. So that we will actually keep on testing on this. I think it is quite interesting. Then after that, we start to think about classroom. Okay, how happened to a classroom? Now we have the shelf, and then can the classroom be a bit more interesting? Then we all know that, the 21st century classroom. You want to talk about it? And then there's different kind of skill. You got to be critical thinking, collaboration, creative, and of course communication. And then as you Google, look at creative classroom or 21st century classroom, you'll see obviously you have all these different shape of classroom, but then ours one is ever since 1960s until now. Of course, we have the projector on top and the screen. So it's actually quite boring. But then we try to help. As a designer, we always think okay, we don't complain, but then try to help, see what we can do. So this is actually a prototype for this, they call it a Starbucks classroom in US. So it's almost equipped with all sorts of furniture, and then you can actually enjoy. But then in our classroom, it's all this kind of very rigid kind of arrangement. So no matter how you arrange, it's always the teacher is always there. And we are sort of okay. Then we start to think about, okay, can we make a difference again? And then we look at our kids' toys. This slide, it can be an airport, it can be a spaceship, it can be a boat. So it's actually a very open-ended kind of design. So we are thinking maybe you can do something like a very open-ended thing. So we tested again with the stools. Give it to a school. So the stool that I mentioned just now is actually something like that. It's actually quite lightweight, but then it's actually quite strong for the kids. So we give them a try. So they treat it like a toy blocks, that kind of thing. So probably this is the first time that they actually can play with the furniture. Then this is the outcome, and this is the after effect, how the children is actually interact with the creative, the stools. And then we hope that, through this interactive learning, and the children will actually learn how to make their own choices, and thus rest are very well-rounded children. They write the name on it, and actually we are quite happy with that. So I think it's true that actually creativity can be affordable sometimes if you think hardly. Then after that, not enough, we start to venture into table. Okay, after stools, then what happened? Can we do a table? And then a table that actually help in terms of, we actually try to match the 21st century classroom ideas by considering different kind of arrangement. Then tested with my weight, the stools, whether it's strong enough. If I can sit on it, definitely can. Everyone can sit on it. And then it works like that. I mean, of course, we have to consider our local manufacturer in Kuching. You can cut in different sizes, but then you've got to make sure Kuching can actually produce it locally to minimize the cost. So it can be like that. We bring it semi-outdoor. We bring it to a rooftop for steamboat. So, and then we bring it, come with different kind of graphic. I think it starts to be a bit fun. And then we start to explore in terms of like whether the kids can actually treat it like an open-ended toys, and then start to actually plan on it, start sketching, model it, connecting it, and then it becomes detailed and a bit more sophisticated, a bit more complex, and then start to be a bit more fun. These were actually all done by my kids in the office. It's actually just to keep them occupied, otherwise we can't work. See? So we think that, I mean, through this furniture, and they come with the cardboard, it could be a recycle, and then it's actually a funny toy, which means like a furniture that can actually play on it, or actually a toys that you can actually use. So we flat pack, and then we post it online. So if you want to buy, you can actually go to our Facebook and buy, yeah. Then after that, of course, there's a hardware part, and then we talk about software, how to educate the kids in terms of, maybe the furniture is not enough, maybe we talk about workshop. So we host this WhatsApp box workshop in the Ika Picture Story House. I think the response is good. The kids, the first time they interact with the cardboards, and then they have all sorts of freedoms to do whatever they want. They can actually cut all this, or a barbecue set on the table. I mean, just to let them expose, like, not probably don't always go to tuition, but you can always interact with the toys, furniture, that kind of thing. And then one of the... So they use the stools to become a drum, that kind of thing, like instrument. Okay, then the cardboard city. You can take over. Thank you. I think the cardboard city is also part of the software that we try to develop.
It's the soft power, I would say.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a mother of 3, and sometimes the work that we are doing is actually part of our stage of life. So we will try to prioritize on raising our kids in with a very attentive kind of environment, and whenever they need us, and we'll be there around with them. Then why we want to, I think one of the reasons we want to do this cardboard city is because all the while I'm quite interested in event, and actually my first ambition is not being an architect, is to be an actress. Okay, but then
never know.
Never tell you. Then actually, then after that, I found out that I'm not tall enough, and then my face is not that 3D, so it's not photogenic enough. So so I give up. Then after that, so yeah, this is always I think suddenly I find that there's a chance that I can actually do event. Okay. So this event, this cardboard city challenge, of course, is a continuation of our cardboard furniture. It's also, I'm also being positioned in the way in the firm that I actually need to in charge of the marketing and promotion of this cardboard furniture. Because after we have mass produced it, we are trying to distribute it. We are trying to introduce it to the school, that they can actually have this. They can actually buy this affordable, creative furniture to equip it for their 21st century classroom. Because we think that because we found out that through the process of delivering the mobile library to them, the school is actually, most of the school, especially the national primary school, they are facing this funding problem. Then they literally don't really spend money, don't really fork out money to support on all this so-called is kind of like extra thing. They will focus on the facilities and maintenance of the school. So we have to find our way out to promote to them, even though it's very difficult at first. Then we thought of like at first we thought of like, why not we give them a few sets for free, so that they can try out, and then they will hopefully pass the words to other school, and then it will spread the news, and then more school will be interested in it. Then one of the reasons that, and then after that, what holds us back is actually the mobile library. We found out that there are a few mobile libraries that we delivered. I think one or two delivered to the school, especially those in the bigger scale school in Kuching. They don't really appreciate it because because someone is donating it to them, and to them it's just like an extra, piece of furniture that can place at their hall or at their corridor. And then after a while, all the books are gone, and then the shelf is actually tearing down, and then they don't really maintain it. Comparing to those small scale school at the rural area, they really appreciate what we have done, and because they really cherish things that the public give to them. So okay, very long introduction. So pass on to and okay, this capacity challenge. Okay, I got a chance to do event. Okay, so I must do it good. So that I can continue it. Okay, then suddenly this one. Okay, it started off with a very personal thing. Then after that, we wanted to park it at the World Architecture Day, because we want to do it as soon as possible, because it's already August, and then we think that, we have a pressure of selling this, okay, otherwise we'll earn nothing, okay. Then okay, why not we do it as soon as possible? I discussed it with my partner, Miss Sim, and she said, yeah, we better do it faster. Then so we park it together. We decided to park it together with the World Architecture Day, because we are architect. We always think that it's all related, And then after that, we will go. Then we talk to PAMSC Sarawak chapter, Min and then Chai, and they said, okay, just do it. Okay, then we get a green light. Then after that, my partner, Miss Sim, just browsed through online when she's doing some research about it, and then if she found this global cardboard challenge, then we were like, okay, something similar. Then okay, why not refer to this? Okay. So we watched these K-Nuggets again. I think you can go online and watch it. It's very inspiring. Then it's a global movement. Okay, whenever we think about global, then I think it's kind of like a marketing strategy that can attract people, in terms of sponsorship or attention. So we start to discuss this our committee team. That is Miss Sim, the one who is wearing spec, and then Chai on the left. Okay. You are me already. We are together. Okay, then this one, after that, it just happened that I read some newspaper, and I found that, this is so interesting. What about Kuching? Then I go and call my friend and say, what is this all about? I want to get involved also, because it's event also. Then I tried to call them. Then they said, we will just present our proposal to them, whether they can park in together. So they said, okay, then we park in together. Then I think it's a good exposure for us also, because we have never had any experience doing event. And so we got to learn a lot from them, because these people are really the staging people and the event people in Kuching. Then after that, the person in charge, after a week or two, the person in charge then know that we are doing cardboard thing, and he said, I found that someone is going to organize a cardboard boat race across the river. Are you the one involved in it? I said, no, but it's very interesting. Then we're going to find out. Then it's actually one of the event hosted by this Fort Margarita during Brooks Gallery to celebrate their first anniversary. So, okay, we were very busy preparing for the organizing the Cardboard City, and then we still need to deal with lots of school, and then writing letters, and then planning and finalizing all the proposal. But then at one point that we didn't really want to participate. We said we are too occupied. Then after that, we thought that actually this is a once in a lifetime. Now, how many? I mean, there will not be any program that can actually allow us to engage to the river that closely. So the day before the day before this event, we decided to participate, and yeah, this is what we do together with the Lim Kok Wing students. They are all here. So they quite enjoy it, and then we managed to cross the river with the cardboard boat, and there are 7 teams of it. Although we didn't win the first to third prize, because I think we don't have the paddling skill, and we actually overlook it. Okay, then but it's quite an enjoyable process, and it's actually helped to build up the team spirit for the student as well.
Learning by doing.
Next. Okay, then after the cardboard boats, and then we continue on with the planning of this Cardboard City, and then we went to all the schools. We invited about 30 schools, and then we hope that there are response, and we received 12 schools by calling them one by one, and this is one of the school who is very interested about this event, and it's actually SK Lumba Kuda, and Lumba Kuda is actually known as a not so perform school in Kuching, and the headmaster is actually he felt very thankful that we organized this kind of event that doesn't really need a lot of skills and intelligence, or it's just basically just a do and think kind of workshop for the children. So then okay, this is the hall. Then the venue selection, we just know that we want a very big warehouse that can actually cater the Cardboard City. We were not so we didn't actually scared off by the scale of the warehouse, because when we research online, Cardboard City is supposed to be very big, right? So okay, then this one of the one of the guidelines that we give to the school, that they actually need to build something in how many meter square?
The area is about 3 by 5 meter, so about 15 square meter.
15 square meter.
And then
area.
we sort of like set some rules, like saying, okay, got to be 1.5 to 2 meters, and then these are the boxes that you need to be collected, about.
Yeah. Okay, we also tell them that because we want to save time on material gathering, and then we tell them you school actually can collect the cardboard, the used cardboard yourself. And then after that, okay, we distribute the design brief to them. There are some simple guidelines for them, so that we can dedicate the job to the school. Then we can concentrate on marketing and promotion for this event, and we really want to make it work. Okay, then this is the backdrop, and we've during the process of collaborating with PAM and WAK, we find that okay, it will be cool to include those logo, to make the whole event more happening, and then it's easier to convince the schools and the public to come and visit. So and then okay, this is the floor plan that we draw. We basically extracted from the landscape and the urban plan from Kuching with the river, but we altered the road a bit with the roundabout to make it more interesting, and some junction. And then we divided the overall layout into pieces of land.
The river is actually a walkway.
Okay. And then we also need to think about the circulation of the public when they visit the cardboard city. And so this is the process of laying the cardboard base. And then these are the school children when they're involved. And some of we get the volunteer from college and university to guide the primary school children so that they can pass on the skill and experience to them. And these are some of the pictures that how they assemble their city by their own imaginations. Okay. This is not done by us. It's actually a illustration of the site.
The students.
This is not the cardboard city is not designed earlier.
This is basically a documentation. Like, I think it's worth to document.
Next.
Video. The drawn.
Okay. Show you a little bit of drawn video. We are glad that we have a lot of help. We receive a lot of help from the collaborator, organizer, and friends who help us to make the whole event success. And okay, outside of the black box cardboard city is actually we try to make the event more complete. Like we provide the F&B area by inserting our cardboard furniture there. And this is the launching, the time during the launching of World Architecture Day. And these are the public and the actual day. And these are some of the interesting kids activity which is done by our collaborator. And this is how interactive the kids and parents are when they are given the cardboard's raw material and the cutter on the spot so that they can actually make their own craft with their children to bring it into the cardboard city. And these are we even invited some of the NGO to participate in it so that to make the event more meaningful. And the whole event is actually green event. And we promote zero waste.
So, because it's actually, we work in conjunction with the World Architecture Day, so I'm thinking maybe we can have one or two exhibited items to actually educate the children or actually brief them a little bit of what is architecture. So this is actually a tower that designed by this Archigram. In 1966, you can actually Google it if you want, Archigram. And then another one is actually a walking city. So we are actually creating a huge walking city, actually overlooking to the cardboard city, in the cardboard city. So these are part of the details. How it's actually 100% paper, but then of course the rubber tie, cable tie we need to. So different tubes, different sizes of tubes actually put together and tied to become a frame, and the frame will actually support the 4 legs, and then so there will be 2 parts of this framing. So after the leg, we start to put on the cupboard, and then working on the details. Nice shot, eh? But it's actually quite nice too. I'm not looking at this, but the structure. And then, because the tube, it comes with certain length, so it is not very long, so we need to actually reinforce it with a tab and of course glue and try to reinforce it as tight as possible. And then all this wheel is actually free from the framing system, so that the students can actually, level the platform, the framing, and then another 4 will actually slot in the wheels to level the platform. So these are some of the details below the walking city. And then this is actually, because once you enter, you will see this huge structure, so I'm thinking maybe we can just put some welcome signage. She's actually a kindergarten school teacher, so bring over some of the kids just to play during the play day. The last part, so it's a walking city, so how to make it work, kind of thing. I mean, can it work? So can it be like that? But of course, cannot lah. Then, but of course, we have our version of walking city. So, of course, because the exhibition is actually temporarily, so no matter how, we need to actually cross shop by doing this. I walk a bit, see? Okay, enough. So I think thanks to the bunch of students here, I think without you all, you will definitely cannot be visualized. And I think Pam will buy them a dinner. And then, yeah, these are some of them as well. Yeah, here. Last thing. I think I like this quote because sometimes we don't complain. I mean, you can actually change your life, if you're doing something. So let's say you say coaching is boring, but then create something, so don't complain. Yeah, and students as well. Sometimes you complain about the school, complain about lecture, but then you have to improve yourself. Nowadays it's so easy to get, information. And that's all. And if you like us, you can follow us on the Facebook. Thank you.